when Moshe would say things like, don't take the head forward, just keep it where it is, keep it where it is, just take it down and up and down and up. And I would think like, I have no idea how to do it. I have no idea how to do it, but clearly what I'm doing is not getting me there. And this is where, for me, I was thankful that I had the anatomy, because I thought, so I'm not thinking about some joints that will make this possible. So what joints would I need to focus into and hopefully be able to wake up so that that possibly has a chance to happen? And then, you know, came the important thing of like not forcing it, not making it happen. But otherwise, if we don't know how to do what we want, then how does it happen? It either never happens, and we know it's not happening, and then we're just stuck and disappointed. We ask somebody, and they may or may not know, and they just say, you have to find it yourself, without giving you any clues. If anybody ever tells you you have to find it yourself, and they're not able to give you any clues, that's probably because they don't know. I don't want you know, either that or the house is on fire and they need to go, or they don't like you. But that happens. There goes that my least favorite student asking a question. Discover it by yourself. And you probably won't. So there. Because we need clues, right? And we either generate those clues ourselves, or we never find it, or something happens and something changes, and you kind of go, what just happened? Or who did it? Or how did it happen? And you know that and all of that is in a sea of possible options of how something new appears. Yeah. So let's see. Lastly, up here, then we go to the pelvis. Handlers in position. Somebody else can be a handler. That is okay. All right. So now I need a head handler, but I'd like that head. Let's move MacGyver a little bit up so the head handler can kneel here and have, looks like it's going to be a her, have her hands on either side of the skull. You're holding the skull. Okay, get her. Oh, this, okay, you got it, because there's lots of padding here. All right, with us?
Yep.
Good, I'm gonna.
Holding here.
No, can you hold the two sides of the skull? Is that all right? You can lean against the table now with your belly. It might be more comfortable that way. All right. So
I'm not the best handler. I have so many little. Okay,
needs yourself. Oh, well, you can always, you know. All right. So most people. So do you see now how the shoulder blades are close to the spine? Yeah. Now, when a person, very often, begins to lift, unsink, and press a little bit into the floor, the shoulder blades will go away from the spine, and very often what they will do, prepare for the head to descend down towards your belly, is this is what they're going to do. See? This, like that. Therefore, all of the variations where you're lying and lifting the arm and taking the arm back, they're not just meant to work with taking the scapula backward, but to take the scapula backward and reawaken that extension. Yeah, and they reawaken extension in the way we often do in ATMs, which is extension with rotation and extension with rotation. And interestingly enough, when I was, you okay with your niece? When I was observing my older daughter and videotaping her and reading developmental literature, what I saw and read about, but mostly it was, I saw at first, is that in every situation, such as, for instance, half kneeling, what a child will do, I call it handing things to the giants. And that is, they'll take something and they'll turn. So the extension is with turning. And they do it in one direction, and they do it in one direction, and hopefully they also do it in the other direction. And it's the same thing when they're lying on the belly. By the time that they really are comfortable on the belly, they will not ever, they will usually, what they'll do is they'll go into extension with rotation until eventually what they're able to do is take something and throw it over their head, right? Because with the use of the arms in extension, like that, you've got long levers that can really make you fall, right? So if I am going to be a child playing and I have these things and I throw them like this, if I don't know how to find support on my pelvis, I'll fall over. It's no big deal. They fall over all the time. So there's something about this, what I call, again, handing things to the giants, where I don't have any momentum, right? If I'm throwing something, I've got momentum. Here, I don't have any momentum, and I'm building extension, but the rotation also keeps me really in the midline. So these ATMs, our ATMs, very often combine rotation with extension. And rotation, remember, theoretically speaking, is really the forte of the thoracic spine.
What?
Forte.
What does it mean?
Strength. Strength. The strong capability, 3 degrees of rotation on the average, with more somewhere here in the middle between 7 and 8. Kind of looping back through some of the information I've already said, but building a broader context for it. And a little bit less as you go down and less as you go up. So we're using a dimension in which the thoracic spine theoretically can move very nicely, and we're utilizing it to actually take it also into the dimension that it doesn't move so nicely for us adults, which is extension. All right, so we're kind of like using those 2 planes together. And therefore, we have the variation, right, of just lifting the elbow. And we have done things together where we lifted the elbow and rolled the head. And that was a different relationship. Here, you're lifting the elbow, and very clearly, he wants it to be organized from the shoulder. So the hand holds. So you're not trying to lift the elbow by starting with the hand. And the whole pounding thing, that also is extension, and utilizing a bit of rolling eventually and turning. So, however, for most people, that is not available. So, however they sink, what they do is the shoulder blades will come together, but the mass of their chest will sink towards the floor. The mass of their head will sink towards the floor, but nothing more here will happen in the thoracics. So now let's go back up. There we go. So the only way that the whole, you can imagine, the center of the rib cage is going to just descend down to the floor rather than to the floor and forward, right? The only way that the head, therefore, will be carried only downward rather than lurched by the stiff chest to go forward is if, do another moment there, head handling, is if in the thoracic spine, and he actually also talks about the small ribs, I didn't for you all because you already had that, is if the spinous processes go down, 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 making the thoracic spine more convex in the front and more concave in the back, or a little bit more, right? A little bit more. Yeah? Yeah. Right. So now comes the question, and maybe let's have, is it easier for you to keep going with the clip or make a